when you become a leader or when you change leadership roles, it's essential to really understand the role. And normally that requires more personal transformation than you might imagine. Like the famous story is very often the best sales rep does not necessarily make the best sales manager, because it's a completely other set of skills. And in some cases, there are also inspiring examples where we can see that becoming or accepting a new leadership role really requires that transformation. It's actually sometimes I work with films like Invictus or other pictures, and there's even like plays by Shakespeare. One of the interesting one about plays by Shakespeare is about Henry V. And before becoming Henry V, young Hal is basically, a very, wild young man spending most of his time in the pub with his friends, drinking too much beer. And he sort of does everything in what a king would never do. And it's very interesting that Shakespeare starts the play with his miraculous transformation. And that miraculous transformation is indeed, he changes overnight and completely. And of course, that's a play, and but the symbolism is telling that really from one day to the next, the young man assumes a completely new responsibility, and so he also changes his behavior completely and radically. And of course, Shakespeare has all sorts of wonderful ways to tell us that, but the story is important. And I see that it's really vital to understand what is it that is expected of me in this next role. And is most of the stuff that I'm going to need most of the skills that I need to have, do I already have that? Or should I be really aware that this role requires yet other skills? And of course, in professional organizations with a lot of awareness, you will be supported and people and from HR or through your the leaders that you report to, they will explain to you what are the skills that you now need. But in as much as you may not always be presented with that automatically, one of the essential things is that you start asking yourself, what is it that I really need to be in this role? And without making this all too lofty and highbrow, in that sense, the famous sentence, being the change you want to see in the world, is completely and essentially true. Because you really, to understand what needs to be done, you have to sort of let that sink in and also understand what you will need to do. And sometimes that can also be very symbolic, because the way what you do communicates what needs to be done. It's just the famous be the change you want to see in the world is, of course, by Gandhi, the saying by Gandhi. But he had fantastic symbolic stuff. He started to do the weaving himself. So one picture of him personally weaving said it all. He made the long walk to the ocean and grabbed this handful of salt. So that was before social media and for he made stuff clear by taking actions that people could immediately relate to. And one of the things of becoming a leader is to understand what people need to feel, need to understand, and so that's another way of really trying to understand the role, what is needed in this specific leadership role, and what do I need to learn, what do I need to do, and who do I need to be.